Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to be here today to talk about automating SharePoint site provisioning. Our focus will be on using PNP PowerShell and the PNP Framework. The presentation is titled Automating SharePoint Site Provisioning with PNP PowerShell and PNP Framework, and the subtitle highlights strategies, best practices, and tools for scalable, consistent, and reliable site management. Over the next few slides, we'll explore how to streamline and standardize the way you create and manage SharePoint sites. Let's get started. Welcome to our second slide. Here, we're introducing the PNP PowerShell and PNP Framework, two powerful tools for automating SharePoint site provisioning. PNP PowerShell uses declarative templates, which means you define what you want, and it automates the creation process accordingly. This approach helps ensure consistency across your sites and makes scaling up easier as your needs grow. It's especially useful for complex, structured rollout challenges where precision and uniformity are key. On the other hand, the PNP framework offers a more imperative, quick scripting style. It's known for its speed and straightforwardness, making it ideal for admins who want to deploy sites quickly and with simplicity. When we compare the two, PNP PowerShell's declarative nature excels in scenarios requiring detailed, repeatable templates, while the PNP framework shines in rapid, flexible deployments. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding these tools enables us to choose the right approach based on whether we prioritize consistency and scalability or speed and simplicity. Both are valuable, but knowing which to use in different situations can significantly improve our SharePoint management. Let's talk about why provisioning is so important. It ensures that our SharePoint environments are aligned with our business requirements and comply with standards. This means that every site we create supports our organizational goals and maintains security and compliance. Reliable provisioning plays a key role here. It reduces manual effort, which not only saves time, but also allows us to scale our growth more effectively. When we automate these processes, we can handle more sites without sacrificing quality or consistency. Ensuring that each new site meets business needs, compliance standards, and user expectations is crucial. Reliable site provisioning helps us achieve that, giving us confidence that every project starts on the right footing. Now, without standardization, things get chaotic. SharePoint environments can become unpredictable, leading to configuration errors, security risks, and increased support workload. This is why standardizing our provisioning processes is so vital. And this brings us to the importance of consistent site templates. They are essential for maintaining organizational productivity and governance. When everyone uses the same templates, we ensure uniformity, simplify management, and uphold best practices. In summary, site provisioning isn't just about creating sites. It's about creating reliable, compliant, and standardized environments that support our overall organizational success. All right, let's dive into getting started with PNP PowerShell. One of the great things about this tool is that it allows for direct manipulation of site elements. This makes it particularly useful when you need to perform ad hoc updates or troubleshoot specific issues quickly. It's very hands-on and gives you immediate control over your SharePoint sites. Now, because it's designed for quick tasks, PNP PowerShell is ideal for small jobs or fast fixes. You don't need to worry about XML knowledge or complex configurations. Just write your script, run it, and see the results. Another thing to note is its imperative scripting style. This means you execute commands step by step, which provides immediate feedback. It's very intuitive for administrators because you can see what's happening at each stage, making it easier to troubleshoot and fine-tune your actions. In essence, PNP PowerShell offers a fast, efficient way to automate SharePoint changes. It puts powerful tools directly in your hands for quick, targeted site management, aligning perfectly with our overall theme of streamlining site provisioning and management through automation. Now, let's talk about how PowerShell and the PNP framework excel in handling quick bug fixes and emergency patches for individual site collections. These scenarios really showcase the power of targeted, surgical changes that can be accomplished without the need for complex templates or lengthy development cycles. For example, when you need to fix a bug or update permissions just before a project launches, PowerShell allows you to make those adjustments swiftly and precisely. Similarly, if you need to add or update site columns and lists on a few sites rapidly, this approach streamlines the entire process, saving valuable time. These real-life wins with PNP PowerShell highlight its flexibility and efficiency in managing SharePoint environments. It's all about delivering focused, immediate solutions that keep your sites running smoothly without unnecessary overhead. This capability aligns perfectly with our overall goal of automating SharePoint provisioning while maintaining agility and control. Now, let's take a closer look at some common issues you might encounter when working with PNP PowerShell scripts. First, there's the risk of partial failures. This means that sometimes only part of the provisioning process completes successfully, leaving your sites in inconsistent states. This can be problematic because it makes troubleshooting more difficult and can lead to unexpected behavior down the line. Next, we have documentation gaps. When scripts aren't well documented, it's easy to get confused about what they do or how they affect the site. This can slow down maintenance and cause errors, especially for new team members or when revisiting scripts after some time. Then there's the complexity in script logic. Often, scripts contain complex if-else structures that can be hard to read and maintain. Over time, this complexity can increase the risk of bugs and make updates more challenging. Finally, fragility due to hard-coded values. Hard-coded URLs or specific parameters make scripts less scalable. If anything changes, like a site URL or a resource path, you have to go back and manually update the scripts, which isn't efficient or reliable. All these issues highlight the importance of careful scripting and good practices to ensure smooth and scalable site provisioning. Let's talk about the scalability issues with PowerShell scripts. While they often provide quick wins initially, as you try to scale up and automate larger provisioning tasks, the complexity quickly becomes a headache. This is because these scripts tend to require constant patching and manual adjustments, which adds to the overall management burden. You'll also find that failures can happen unpredictably, especially when environment configurations change or when template updates are made. That unpredictability makes relying on these scripts for large-scale deployment risky. And as you deal with multiple sites that are very similar but have minor differences, the scripts can become tangled and error-prone. They often turn into spaghetti code, full of exceptions and special cases, which makes maintenance even more challenging. So, while PowerShell is powerful, its limitations become clear when you're trying to do large-scale, repeatable provisioning. It's not always the most reliable or manageable solution in those scenarios. Now, let's talk about the PNP Framework for declarative provisioning. This marks a significant shift from traditional imperative scripting towards a more declarative approach. Essentially, instead of writing step-by-step instructions on how to build a site, we're defining the end goal or outcome we want to achieve. This makes the process much more focused on what the final result should look like, rather than how to get there. The framework is also designed with scalability in mind. This means it can handle large, complex environments and still support governance and long-term maintenance. It's built to grow with your organization and ensure consistency over time. When it comes to the provisioning process itself, the framework reads a blueprint. Think of this as a detailed plan or template, and then constructs the SharePoint site accordingly. This ensures that every site built with this method is consistent and repeatable, which is key for managing multiple sites efficiently. Finally, the declarative templates come in formats like XML or JSON. Instead of scripting every step, you define the desired end state of your site within these templates. This approach simplifies the process and makes it easier to manage and update your provisioning as your needs evolve. Overall, this method aligns perfectly with modern, scalable, and maintainable SharePoint site management. Let's take a look at the benefits of using a declarative template approach. First, this method significantly reduces manual errors, which is crucial when you're managing many sites, and it helps support organizational standards at scale. By automating the provisioning process, we minimize the chances of mistakes and ensure consistency across the board. Another key advantage is transparency and traceability. Changes made through templates are easy to track and review via version control, making audits straightforward. This ties directly into governance, as it helps enforce compliance with permissions, branding, and policies across all sites. Reusability is also a major benefit. Templates can be reused across hundreds of sites, saving time and effort. This repeatability means every site you create will match the defined standards exactly, ensuring consistency and quality. Overall, this approach not only streamlines the provisioning process, but also ensures that everything stays aligned with your organizational requirements, making management more efficient and reliable. Let's take a closer look at the learning curve involved with PNP Framework templates. While it might seem challenging at first, mastering this complexity actually makes future updates much easier. Over time, you'll find that predictable provisioning becomes more achievable, which is a huge advantage for ongoing site management. Now, managing nested properties and dependencies can add layers of complexity. It's important to handle these carefully because proper management is key to creating effective and reliable templates. If these dependencies aren't well managed, it can lead to issues down the line. Another challenge you might encounter is debugging errors. Sometimes, the errors thrown by strict validation can be cryptic and frustrating. Many of these errors come from complex rules and dependencies that are built into the templates, so understanding these intricacies is vital. Finally, it's worth noting that writing these templates does require an upfront investment. Learning the ins and outs of XML or JSON schemas and understanding the provisioning engine rules can take time, but it's an essential step toward becoming proficient. Overall, while there's a learning curve, the long-term benefits of mastery, such as easier updates and reliable provisioning, are well worth the effort. Let's take a look at some real-world examples of how the PNP framework has been successfully implemented. First, in healthcare, organizations have seen a 40% reduction in site configuration errors after switching from traditional scripts to declarative templates. This shift not only improves accuracy, but also helps control site sprawl and makes updates much simpler. It's a great example of how automation and standardized templates can bring efficiency and reliability to critical workflows. On the other hand, in financial services, using templates has been key for enforcing strict policies around permissions, branding, and data retention. This ensures compliance and makes audit preparation much smoother. Overall, these case studies highlight how the PNP framework can be tailored to different industries, driving both efficiency and compliance in a way that supports the broader goals of digital transformation. Let's talk about how modular design helps us maintain high quality in our templates. First, by breaking down templates into smaller, focused building blocks, we make it much easier to test and maintain each part individually. This approach allows us to identify issues faster and ensure everything works smoothly before combining everything into a bigger picture. Scalability is a key benefit here as well. When we design templates in modules, we can scale provisioning more easily. Instead of creating one giant, complex template, we work with smaller, manageable pieces that can be reused across different sites or projects. Another important point is that updating becomes safer and simpler. If we need to make a change, we can update just one module without risking the stability of the entire template. This minimizes the chance of introducing errors and keeps our environment stable. Additionally, separating key components, like lists, libraries, branding, and navigation, into distinct files helps us stay organized. It enables us to update or replace specific parts independently, improving overall control and consistency. Finally, this modular approach directly supports troubleshooting and stability. When issues arise, it's easier to pinpoint problems in focused, reusable modules rather than sifting through one monolithic template. Overall, adopting a modular design is a smart way to enhance quality, scalability, and maintainability in our SharePoint site provisioning. Let's talk about parameterization and why it's such a game changer when automating SharePoint site provisioning. First, by using parameters instead of hard-coded values, we gain much greater flexibility. This means our scripts can adapt to different environments more easily, and we reduce the chances of making errors when deploying across various settings. It also makes reuse safer, since we're not copying and pasting risky code, but instead passing in variables that can be controlled and validated. Another big advantage is versatility. With parameters, a single template can serve multiple business units or regions, simply by changing the input values. Now, on the flip side, if we rely on hard-coded values, like specific URLs or department names, we run into scaling issues. It becomes cumbersome to update everything manually, especially as the organization grows or changes. So, embracing parameterization not only makes our automation more robust, but also aligns perfectly with the goal of creating scalable, maintainable solutions. Now, let's talk about documenting templates for longevity. Investing time in good documentation might seem like extra work up front, but it really pays off by saving us hours of troubleshooting later and helping prevent knowledge gaps. One of the key tools here is README files. They give us a quick overview of the templates and clear instructions on how to use them. Inline comments are equally important. They explain the purpose of different template blocks and any dependencies, making the templates much easier to understand and modify in the future. Good documentation isn't just about keeping things organized. It's essential for ongoing maintenance and for team collaboration. Having clear, thorough documentation helps prevent accidental breakages and makes onboarding new team members much smoother. Ultimately, well-documented templates ensure our SharePoint provisioning process remains efficient, reliable, and scalable over time. Let's talk about version control and template management. This discipline is crucial because it allows us to make safe updates and quickly recover if a deployment causes issues. It helps us avoid the risks associated with making changes directly to live environments. One of the key benefits is maintaining detailed change logs. These logs explain what changes were made, and importantly, why they were made. This transparency is essential for troubleshooting and understanding the evolution of our SharePoint sites. Storing templates in systems like Git is another important aspect. By doing so, we create a history of our templates that we can refer back to or restore if needed. This approach makes rollback straightforward and reduces the chance of losing important configurations. Semantic versioning is also a vital practice. Using meaningful version numbers helps us track significant changes over time, so we know at a glance whether a release is a minor update or a major overhaul. Overall, adopting these practices ensures our SharePoint site provisioning is more reliable, manageable, and resilient to issues. Now, let's talk about avoiding and managing dependencies between modules. One of the most critical steps is to document dependencies clearly. This helps us avoid surprises down the line, especially when making updates or changes. Keeping a record of how modules are interconnected is essential for future reference, so we always know what relies on what. Interdependencies, if not managed properly, can lead to cascading failures. Imagine updating one module and unintentionally breaking several others. That's why proper dependency management is vital. By doing this, we ensure that our template updates don't cause unexpected issues across multiple sites. To minimize risks, it's best to test changes incrementally. Testing in small steps helps us isolate issues early, so we can address problems before they affect everything. This approach ties back to dependency management because it helps prevent those cascading failures. Before updating any module, we need to identify which modules rely on others. This way, we can plan updates carefully and avoid surprises. Documenting dependencies clearly provides the clarity needed to manage these relationships effectively, ensuring a smooth and reliable provisioning process. Now, let's talk about the risks associated with updating templates directly in a production environment. First, it's absolutely critical to emphasize the importance of thorough testing and strict change control. Without proper testing, we risk introducing errors that can lead to costly incidents once the updates go live. Another key point is user frustration and disruption. When updates are poorly managed, they can cause widespread issues, making users frustrated because their workflows or access suddenly break. This is something we definitely want to avoid. There's also the risk of data loss. Updates that aren't carefully planned might silently change the schema, leading to missing fields or even loss of important data, something that can be very damaging. Finally, untested or poorly planned updates can have a big impact on workflows and features. They might break permissions, disrupt automations, or disable key site functionalities for multiple teams, which can really hamper productivity. So overall, managing template updates with care, proper testing, and control is essential to keep our SharePoint environment stable and our users happy. Let's talk about best practices for changing and testing templates, especially when automating SharePoint site provisioning with PNP PowerShell and the PNP Framework. First, it's crucial to validate each module before combining them into your full templates. This step helps catch issues early and ensures each part works correctly on its own. Next, when you move to validation, enable verbose logging. This allows you to capture detailed error information, making troubleshooting much easier if something doesn't work as expected. It's also important to use near-production test tenants that mirror your actual environment. This way, you can test with realistic data and permissions, giving you confidence that your templates will perform well in the real world. Finally, I recommend applying provisioning steps incrementally rather than all at once. Taking small, measured steps helps you identify problems early and makes debugging much more manageable. By following these best practices, validating modules individually, enabling detailed logs, using realistic environments, and provisioning incrementally, you'll improve the reliability and effectiveness of your template deployment process. Now, let's talk about troubleshooting techniques, which are crucial for ensuring smooth automation of your SharePoint site provisioning. One of the most effective strategies is leveraging logs and community support to accelerate problem resolution. When something goes wrong, detailed logs can help you identify exactly where the process is failing, saving you time and guesswork. Using diagnostic tools like PowerShell scripts is also incredibly helpful. They can help you isolate whether the issue is with SharePoint itself or the templates you're using. This way, you can narrow down the root cause more efficiently. Don't forget about the wealth of knowledge available in Microsoft documentation and PNP community forums. These resources are invaluable. They often contain solutions to common issues or workarounds discovered by other users. Finally, reviewing detailed error logs is essential. By analyzing these logs, you can pinpoint the specific steps where failures occur and understand the underlying causes. Overall, combining thorough logging, community insights, and diagnostic tools will greatly speed up troubleshooting, helping you maintain a reliable and efficient provisioning process. Now, let's talk about combining PowerShell and the PNP Framework. This hybrid approach really offers us a lot of flexibility and control, which is essential when dealing with diverse provisioning needs. It allows us to adapt our strategies depending on the situation. During migration phases, for example, we can run both methods in parallel. This way, we ensure a smooth transition without disrupting ongoing work. For large-scale and repeatable tasks, the PNP framework shines. It helps us automate and govern provisioning processes efficiently, especially when dealing with multiple sites or complex configurations. On the other hand, PowerShell is great for immediate needs, like fixing urgent issues, making quick tweaks to legacy sites, or handling features that the PNP framework might not support yet. Overall, this combined approach empowers us to be both proactive and reactive, ensuring that our SharePoint provisioning is both scalable and responsive to real-time demands. When planning a migration from PowerShell to the PNP Framework, one of our main goals is to replace custom scripts with reliable templates. This approach helps us ensure consistency and reduces errors. It's also essential to minimize downtime and avoid disrupting users, so we want this transition to be as smooth as possible. To do that effectively, we'll phase out our scripts gradually, operating PowerShell and the PNP Framework side by side during the transition. This way, we can ensure rollback safety, meaning if something doesn't go as planned, we can quickly revert to the old setup without issues. We recommend starting the migration with low-risk provisioning tasks. These are simpler jobs that allow us to build confidence in the new framework without risking critical operations. The first step is to identify which existing PowerShell scripts are suitable for conversion. We then determine the best candidates to transition to PNP, prioritizing those that are straightforward and low impact. Mapping out our existing scripts is a crucial part of this process. It helps us understand what each script does, so we can plan the best way to convert or replace them effectively. This methodical approach ensures a controlled, confident migration, reducing potential disruptions, and laying a solid foundation for broader adoption of the PNP framework. Now, let's talk about choosing the right tool for each task. The PNP framework really shines when you need consistent, repeatable site provisioning across many SharePoint sites. Its declarative templates allow you to define the desired end state, which helps ensure uniformity and governance throughout your environment. This makes it ideal for large-scale deployments where consistency is key. On the other hand, PowerShell is perfect for quick, targeted fixes or small-scale updates. It offers immediate feedback and gives you direct control, making it ideal for one-off tasks or urgent patches that need to be handled swiftly. So, when you're thinking about scale and repeatability, the PNP framework is your go-to. But if you're working on speed and ad hoc changes, PowerShell delivers that agility. Understanding these differences helps us choose the right tool for the right job, optimizing our SharePoint management process. Now, let's talk about tamming template complexity at scale. As you manage more SharePoint sites, keeping things simple and organized becomes crucial. One key strategy is implementing a strong versioning discipline for your templates. This means adopting semantic versioning, so version numbers that clearly indicate if changes are minor, major, or just fixes. Storing your templates in version control systems, like Git, helps you track all changes meticulously, making it easier to roll back if needed and providing a solid audit trail. Next, the importance of documentation cannot be overstated. Clear comments within your templates and comprehensive README files help explain what each part does, especially for complex blocks or dependencies. This reduces errors and makes handovers smoother, saving time and effort down the line. Parameterization is another powerful approach. Instead of hard-coding values into your templates, use parameters like department names or region codes. This way, your templates can adapt dynamically across different business units without needing to create new versions for every scenario. Finally, modular design plays a vital role. Break your templates into focused, reusable components. Think lists, libraries, branding, or navigation. When you update one module, it only affects that specific area, which simplifies maintenance and reduces the risk of unintended changes across your sites. All these strategies together help us build scalable, maintainable SharePoint solutions that are easier to manage as your environment grows. When it comes to automating SharePoint site provisioning, having effective logging and monitoring can significantly reduce firefighting efforts. It helps us troubleshoot issues more quickly and accelerates the entire process. By proactively monitoring our automation workflows, we can identify and resolve problems before they impact users. Leveraging resources like Microsoft documentation and PNP forums is key. They're invaluable for troubleshooting cryptic errors that might seem confusing at first glance. These communities and official docs provide insights and solutions that save us time and frustration. Another important aspect is testing in environments that closely mirror production. Using near-production setups with realistic data and permissions allows us to catch environment-specific quirks early on. This way, we can address potential issues before they reach the live environment. Applying provisioning steps gradually, one module at a time in test tenants, helps us isolate problems early. It's much easier to identify what's causing an issue when changes are incremental and controlled. And don't forget about detailed output during script runs. Enabling verbose logging allows us to see exactly where failures occur and understand the why behind them. This detailed insight is crucial for troubleshooting efficiently. All these practices, monitoring, community resources, realistic testing, incremental deployment, and detailed logs, tie together to build confidence in our automation processes. They ensure we can deliver reliable, error-resistant SharePoint provisioning every time. Investing in template quality and governance truly transforms SharePoint from a source of headaches into a reliable business platform. When users know that sites will behave as expected, adoption and satisfaction naturally improve. It's all about building confidence, business confidence, that comes from using well-designed, consistent templates. Version-controlled templates are a key part of this. They provide clear histories of changes, so teams can easily understand updates and avoid surprises. This auditability ensures everyone stays on the same page. Predictable site configurations also lead to fewer errors and reduce manual intervention, which means less troubleshooting and more efficient work. Plus, templates help enforce standards, making sure every site aligns with branding, permissions, and compliance requirements. This consistency builds organizational trust, showing that our SharePoint environment is well managed and reliable. Finally, automating site provisioning with tools like PNP PowerShell and the PNP Framework streamlines the entire process, making it faster, more predictable, and easier to scale across the organization. When we invest in these areas, we're not just improving technology, we're strengthening our overall business operations. Let's wrap up with some key takeaways. A thoughtful provisioning strategy is essential for smoother rollouts. It helps minimize surprises and keeps your SharePoint environment healthy and manageable. When designing your strategy, focus on creating modular templates, using parameterization, maintaining version control, and ensuring thorough logging. This approach keeps the provisioning process reliable and manageable over time. Sustainability is also crucial. By combining both PNP PowerShell and the PNP Framework strategically, you can leverage the strengths of each tool. Use PowerShell for urgent tasks or legacy scenarios where quick fixes are needed. On the other hand, the framework is ideal for structured, scalable automation, especially in large-scale deployments. Now, a strategic combination of these tools is perfect when you need repeatable provisioning with strong governance. While it may require some upfront investment in learning and designing templates, the payoff comes in consistency and fewer errors down the line. Let's talk about the advantages of the PNP framework. It's best suited for large-scale, repeatable tasks where structure and governance matter. It offers a scalable way to automate provisioning and ensures consistency across your environments. Conversely, PNP PowerShell shines for quick, targeted fixes and small-scale tasks. It provides speed and direct control, which can be very handy. However, it can become fragile and harder to maintain as your environment grows, so it's best used for smaller, less complex tasks. In summary, combining these tools thoughtfully enables a more robust, efficient, and sustainable SharePoint provisioning process. Thank you for your attention.